So what kind of crazy shit were our boys Kiriko and Maru come across today? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with episode 3 of Heavenly Delusion. And last episode we found out that Kiriko is a trans male. He very plainly stated that while his body may be that of a woman's, I'll talk about that in a second. His mind is that of a man's, that he has a male mind, and it's not the most elegant way of describing what being trans is. Um, but if we're being honest, like representation for that within anime within Japan is not the best. And the fact that we're getting it, and the fact that it seems so far at least to be handled pretty respectfully, is is good, and I appreciate that. But the entire like idea of like, I mean, in this case, he's a boy trapped in a girl's body or whatnot is just, it's not a way that we like to put things. Because, like, for example, I'm trans female, right? I'm a trans woman. I'm non binary. I do not say that I was born in a male body because that's just not true. I am trans female. I am non binary. That means my body is trans female and non binary. My body is just as feminine as I am, or just as non binary as I am. Like, people put too much gendering on physical traits. If you are a guy, doesn't matter if you're cis or trans, your body is a guy's body. You may not have been assigned male at birth, but that doesn't mean you're trapped in the wrong body. Now, if you have gender dysphoria and wish to transition, that's fine. Because, like, you have gender dysphoria and your body is causing you emotional and mental pain. Yeah, transition. Do whatever you can. Um, Obviously, depending on how much money you have, because transitioning is not cheap, in order to make the best life you can. When I first came out, I wanted to dress in a lot of like feminine clothing. So I got a lot of like dresses and stuff from a friend. Um, I ended up getting breast forms, which are basically these little like silicone fake boobs that you can wear. And it's like I would wear those all the time, mostly when I was like, going out somewhere. But still, nowadays, I will go around in jeans and a t shirt. No bra, no breast forms. A lot of times I don't even like do up my hair. I just have it tied back. And it's because I've grown more neutral, I guess, in most of my presentation. And occasionally I will still wear dresses and stuff, weather permitting, of course. Like, I'm not gonna like go out in the dead of winter in a dress most of the time. But like if it's like nice and warm in like the spring or the summer or even early fall, it's like, yeah, I'll wear a dress. I'll like go to church in a dress. Sure. But it's like it's not like a super common thing for me anymore. It just depends on a couple different factors, basically. Um, I tend to dress a lot more neutrally now. Mostly because it's cheaper and easier. But I'm at a point where I feel comfortable doing so as well. While I do identify more towards the feminine side of things, like generally speaking, I'm fine with dressing neutral. And like not everyone is at that point though. Some people dress more neutrally because they have to, because it's, the cheapest kind of way you can dress. Though, to be fair, men's fashion, like typical masculine fashion, is just as cheap as neutral. It's only feminine fashion that for some reason is super expensive. You notice that? Skirts, dresses, etc., blouses are much more expensive than like a t shirt or a tank top or stuff like that. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It is more expensive to be a woman or to wear feminine clothing. Because there are people who aren't women who wear feminine clothing, NBs, and even some men. But yeah, um, with Kiriko here, although the language he uses isn't like great, we know what he means, and we know what the writer means with this. We understand what's being said. It's just the language isn't quite there yet. Also, the subtitles may not be 100% accurate to what's also being said. Got to keep that in mind. Subtitles for these anime aren't always like entirely accurate. Sometimes they're like translated and then like, oh, we're gonna paraphrase it just ever so slightly. Change the wording just ever so slightly to make it sound more coherent or whatnot, to make it sound just generally better for English speakers to read and all. Various reasons, but you get the idea. Um, but Kiriko said it pretty plainly. Now, mind you, he also revealed it to Maru because Maru was coming on to him and had a crush on him. And there's like another issue with that. It's like, oh, you can't be in love with me. I'm a boy. It's like boys can be in love with boys. It's like what? You could be gay. I can ship you. I can ship my boys. I ship Ace and Yamato in One Piece. Very, very much so. They have exceptional chemistry. And if I can ship them, I can definitely ship Maru and Kiriko. Um, but I am curious as to how this is going to affect their relationship because I feel there's a couple ways this could go. I see three distinct ways. One, Maru accepts it, and even if having trouble, like, properly gendering Kiriko and all, tries. The second option is Maru doesn't accept it, and is purposefully an asshole about, which I just don't see happening. Because Kiriko, like, not accepting it and just, like, intentionally misgendering him and everything after that. I just don't see Maru being that kind of person, based on everything we've seen so far. The third option is that Maru is just fucking confused. Which, honestly, I think is the most, like, reasonable for what we've seen of his character in the first two episodes. Maru's not, like, dumb, but he thinks more with his heart than his head. He tends to be a very emotional person and tends to kind of jump to conclusions, jump to thoughts and everything without really giving it a lot of thought. We kind of saw that a bit last episode. After the mother was killed by by the beast, the monster that ate her son, like Kiriko's the first thing that he said, Kiriko, was like, "Oh, did you see what just happened? The tentacle only swings one direction." And Maru's response to that is, "How could you think about that right now? Did you just see what happened?" He didn't. He assumed that Kiriko's response there was out of a lack of care, which shows a couple things: that Maru is extremely caring, that he was extremely fucked up by seeing that entire situation and the result of it, but also that he just kind of jumped to the conclusion that Kiriko saying that meant that he didn't care or that he wasn't as affected by it. Though he was very quickly proven wrong when Kiriko was like turned around and was like visibly crying and really visibly upset by it. Kiriko was just like kind of pushing forward because it's like, what are you going to do? What is mourning going to do at this moment? Like, yeah, you could be upset by it, but you still have to take out this monster, right? So, I think that Maru's going to be the kind of person who doesn't get it, and not out of any ill will or anything. I just don't think he's going to understand. I think he's going to be like the kind of person who's like, that makes no sense to me. I've never heard of that before, which is very possible considering the world they're living in. Because it's been quite a while since this apocalypse happened, right? They gave numbers last time. I'm trying to remember them. I think it was like when Kiriko was like 3 to 5, and now he's what did it say he was now? Like it said 18 to 20, I think, or 18 to 21, something like that. He kind of stopped like keeping count. Sorry for all the sniffling, by the way. I've been a little sniffly the past couple days. Just weather changing weirdly. It's Michigan. But if I'm sniffling during the reaction and I sneeze a lot, that's why. Because sniffling can lead to sneezing, unfortunately. It's annoying. But yeah. Um, that was kind of the big thing last episode. But we also got other reveals. Such as Maru kind of talked about how his goal when finding paradise and everything is he's supposed to find someone who has the same face as him. And I think that's the one person that we see in heaven because we do get to see heaven. That's our other storyline. We're seeing the kids in heaven and everything, and they're trying to like navigate their young lives while um, dealing with the fact that they're basically locked up in a closed off, almost prison like thing structure, and are led to not even know about the outside world that much unless apparently they ask, in which case they will be told that it's hell, basically. And I mean, it's a little dramatic, but the outside world is clearly dangerous. I mean, outside of like just bandits and everything wandering around, as we saw Kiriko and Maru have to deal with in episode 1, there's also fucking monsters. I don't know how plentiful the monsters are, but they are there. So it's going to be interesting to see why Maru is supposed to be finding this person, like what the entire deal with it is, because it's supposed to help people. Um, on top of that, Kiriko has a past we first learned about. So that's interesting, and it looks like he's trying to kind of distance himself from his past. Um, so that's going to be interesting to learn more about that as well. I feel like there's a lot of mystery to this series, which I'm all for. I can dig a good mystery. Um, and we're definitely going to learn more as it goes on. There's 13 episodes. I don't know if there's going to be a season 2. I don't know how long the manga is. And I don't know how much this adapts. So, but I do believe this was well received from what I heard back when it was coming out. So I'm excited to see more because I'm enjoying it so far. I think it's really damn good. And now with a canon trans character, I'm excited to see what they do with it. Um, but yeah, let's get into this and see what we have in store. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Holy shit! Like, I've seen plenty of anime that have huge reveals and everything in them. I don't even know if I would say this is like the biggest kind of like shock twist I've seen in an anime, though it's probably up there. It's really shocking. Um, but this is only episode fucking 3 out of 13. There's 10 more episodes to go, and it's like we 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 have this big of a twist already. That's really interesting to me because that probably means there's going to be a lot more twists. Probably regarding the likes of Robin and the Doc and everything that are going to, and Heaven, of course, that are going to be really, really hammering in just how crazy and fucked up this entire like post-apocalypse has been. Um, Usually when you get a huge twist like this, it's usually later in the series or at least the season. It's usually not like this early on. So it's pretty wild to think about. And so I stated this in the reaction. I'm going to reiterate it here. I still see Kiriko, and I'm going to refer to him as Kiriko because that is what he is calling himself currently. Um, Also, I did notice going back after stopping the recording because I did think about it, and I was like, wait. Now I'm thinking about it. Wasn't Kiriko's name spelled differently? And I looked back, and it's like, yeah, Kiriko, as we know, is spelled Kiruko, and Kiriko, the sister, was Kiriko. It's pronounced the same, but it's spelled differently. And the reason for this is Haruki, with a U in there, is in Kiriko's body, so the spelling changed to the U to represent Haruki. Which is a detail I don't think they're ever going to mention, but the fact that I looked back and noticed that and realized that, and I understand exactly why it is that way, it's just like, that's just really good storytelling and character work that you can understand exactly why the name change is, despite being so subtle, you understand why it is like that and what it means. That's just really good. um but yeah, I'm still going to refer to Kiriko as Kiriko because again, that is what he refers to himself as now. Um Also, he is comfortable with Maru still calling him sis, which, fair enough. Fair enough. If you're comfortable with that, if you're okay with that, cool. Um, and I still consider this to be like a representation for a trans male character. because again of what being trans like is and represents, this the kind of struggles, especially with Kiriko like struggling with having this body and everything. Well, obviously it's like sci-fi craziness that is the reason he has it. It still can very much be seen as representative of the kinds of dysphoria that trans men would go through and everything. So there's definitely still that idea there. Even if it's not like directly like the character is like literally just a trans male, it's still representative of that. Um so I still consider it a level of representation. Is it the best kind of representation? No. Honestly, probably the best trans male representation I've seen in anime is from Wandering Sun. But you don't see a lot of trans male representation, unfortunately, in anything. Trans female representation is a lot more common. And funny enough, like even the bigots out there, when they talk about trans people, they're almost always just talking about trans women. Because all of their arguments against trans people is literally just about protecting women's spaces. What about trans men? What about non-binary people? Literally every argument they have is about specifically trans women. It's like I feel so bad for trans men and non-binary people, NBs, but at the same time, they kind of like get it a little easier, I think, because they're not as picked on. Though I have seen a lot of bigotry against them as well, like Elliot Page, for example, gets a lot of hate. There's a lot of bigots out there who's like, oh, look what the woke left took from us when talking about Elliot Page. And they always use pictures of Elliot when he was like a kid and stuff. When talking about that, and it's like that's really gross. Like that's just really gross. But anyway, so this entire episode, pretty much until the end, was a flashback. And I'm fine with that. Like I said in the reaction, I'm good with episodes that are just flashbacks in order to develop the story and the characters, which this did excellently. We found out about Haruki and Kiriko, who were the two siblings back then. Their parents died at some point. They lived on their own for a bit, from what we could tell, and then eventually came to this orphanage where that was run by Robin Inazaki. Robin was a little tough, but he cared for them, and they very much had a positive view of him. They stayed there with a few other kids. There wasn't a lot, but it was something, you know. And they ended up taking part in these street races with go-karts. Which is like, yeah, that's a fun little thing. It's like you have to entertain yourself in the apocalypse, right? And everybody was having fun. Kiriko was like really good at it. Haruki was really supportive. But one day during a race, Haruki ends up like seeing that there's a man-eater, one of these monsters, nearby. One that can turn invisible, which is obviously very, very dangerous. And it's actually, we find out later, directly in the path of the track. So Haruki, he tries to get their attention at first, but fails, and he decides, I'm going to stop the man-eater myself, because he did manage to take one out before. I'm going to stop it myself in order to protect my sister and everyone else. He's brave. He's very brave. And so he has this like crossbow thing he created, and he goes to try and take it out, but this man-eater happens to be very like insect-like and have a hard outer carapace that is protecting it from stuff like that, which unfortunately keeps him from being able to do much. He tries to stab it in the face, but unfortunately that's basically the point where it starts to eat him. When Kiriko does eventually start to drive around to that part of the track, she notices what's going on and goes to save him, but only manages to save like half of him. Literally just his head and torso. Not even his arms, not his legs. All of that is gone. And then at some point after that, um, we don't know all the details, but the doctor that we saw briefly transferred Haruki's brain and consciousness into his sister's body. And so we don't know if it was consensual on her part. Like, we don't know if she chose to do that to save her brother, or if this was done against her will too, because she was slightly injured, but not like too bad. Um, and the doctor just kind of split, just left town afterwards. So that's pretty crazy in and of itself. It's like he just does this like horrifically traumatizing surgery on these two literal children, and then splits, which very much implies that it was probably not like on the up and up at all. But in the 4 months that it then took Haruki, now in Kiriko's body, to recover from the surgery and everything, get able to being able to walk again. During that time, Robin went and a bunch of other people went missing. They're presumed dead, but there's no evidence of that. The remaining orphans were taken elsewhere, which I'm thinking, could that be heaven? I mean, it hasn't been that long though, I feel, and heaven looks like it's been running for a longer period of time. Because there's a lot more kids there at this point, and it just seems like it's a bigger thing, you know? It seems like it's a bigger thing that's been in play for a lot longer. So I'm thinking they might have been taken to heaven. Would they have been accepted in? I don't know how that would work. Or they were just taken elsewhere, and maybe we'll see them at some point. Or at least learn what happened to them. Um, but Haruki, now going by the, you know, slightly altered version of his sister's name, started to hire himself out on the streets as a bodyguard, while using the picture of Robin and the doctor to try and find them, just to get answers. Well, to get answers from the doctor and to find Robin, because Robin's like the only family he has left. He lost his parents at some point in the past. We don't know too much about that. He lost his sister, whether consensually or not, it's still fucked. And now he's lost like the other orphans that he was friends with, and Robin, who he was very close with. It's like he lost everyone in one fell swoop. I mean, he has Maru now, and they're clearly very close. Even if a romance doesn't happen, it's like they're still very clearly close. I'm just, I feel so bad for him, you know? From here on out, though, I'm probably going to mostly call him by Kiriko, because again, that's what he goes by now. I might talk about him as Haruki at some points, but yeah. This changes so much, though. It gives us so much depth into him, as well as really showcases how insane this world can be in terms of the traumas that these characters can go through. This is a very dark series. Like, extremely dark, extremely fucked up. Like, you see a lot of shows where it's like, oh yeah, this is a really horrific, fucked up situation. But it's like, I feel like a lot of them try to be a little too edgy. Like, a lot of them are like, oh, we're just gonna be, like, fucked up for the sake of being fucked up and not really put a huge amount of effort and thought into it. But no, with this, it's like, oh no, there is a lot of thought put into it. In fact, I almost kind of wish there was less thought put into it because it's really fucking depressing. Um, but we do see the aftermath of Maru being told all this, and he's yeah. I had the three options, and it was definitely the last one, which I said was the most likely. He's just fucking confused, man. He again, he's not dumb. He's just not the most intelligent either. He just doesn't get it. He's just not quite there with that kind of thing. But I love that his first question though was so respectful. Like he asks Kiriko, "Is it okay to still call you sis? Should I call you something else?" Because he was calling him sis as just like a form of endearment and everything. That was such a respectful question. He was respecting like Kiriko's gender. And this is the kind of thing like you think about with trans people. This is why I still see this as a representation of trans people. When someone comes out, it's like, yeah, you have to like get used to a lot of times new language. You have to like teach yourself to use different terms than you normally would. The fact that or not Haruki, Maru was so instantly respectful about that. The fact that that was literally the first question he had, like, that is so beautiful. And yes, he was confused about it, and he even admitted it's like, I don't understand. This makes no sense to me. Maybe if I sleep it off, it'll just all go away. He's confused. He doesn't understand. It's again in this kind of world, especially, that would be so fucking wild to hear. To just throw that onto someone like out of nowhere, they're going to be fucked up and confused, and it's going to be like the most insane thing they've ever heard. And I think Kiriko knows that. But yeah, I mean, Maru is clearly still cares about Kiriko, and there's still possibility that they could get together. I still kind of ship it. Um, but the nice moment and everything is kind of ruined by a giant monster fish. Because we still have monsters in this series. Got to remember that this is a post-apocalyptic monster series. So we have a giant monster fish outside the window of the boat they're on, and it has human limbs, and I don't like that. Like that kind of like creepy monster body horror freaks me out. And especially because it's a fish. I don't know why, but because it's a fish, it for some reason is even weirder to me. It's even creepier. Like I don't like it. It just gives me the ick. Which is obviously intentional. You're not supposed to like that, but it makes me wonder like are these just like insane mutations or is there something more to it? Because like the one in the flashback was clearly insect like. This one's a fish, but the one we saw like oh no, the one we saw before is like a bird. So they're all like animals. So what's the deal with that? Are they just like super mutated animals? Really makes you wonder. And how are they like naturally mutated through like some kind of nuclear thing? Or is it like more of a oh, someone made these things in a lab and they just got out and started killing people situation? It could be either or. We don't know. And then we still don't know Maru's secrets, like how he's just able to kill these things by reaching into them and grabbing their hearts and shit. Like there's still that mystery. This is so good though. Like this episode was phenomenal. It was a great backstory. It had me invested the entire time. The pacing and writing of it, the character work, the emotion, the intensity, the fucked up nature of everything. Like it was all so actively like horrific. And it really caught me off guard with the reveal cuz I was thinking it was just going to be that Kiriko's brother died and at some point after like he realized he was a guy and maybe like um something about his brother dying made him realize that. I hate to say that because that sounds like kind of terrible, but it's kind of the things I was thinking of. But no, instead it's the brother. The brother is the one who lived, despite being the injured one. And Kiriko somehow, or for some reason, just I still wonder if it's consensual. Because I feel like Kiriko probably would do something like that. But I don't know. Like, I'm wondering if it was. Because the doctor skipping town afterwards feels very fucking suspicious. And not telling anybody about it, all the other nurses and everyone there didn't know what was going on. They thought, like, that Kiriko was just so traumatized from the entire situation that she was, like, thinking she was her brother. It's like, while I actually think I have heard of shit like that happening in real life, trauma like causing people to like have like a mental breakdown to the point where they think there's someone else who died, or they just think there's someone else in general, or even have like memory loss from it. All kinds of stuff can happen from like mental breaks. But it's like, that is very much not what's happening here. That is so wild. That is like, I am very interested to see like what happens once we find the doctor, because that's clearly going to happen. I just want to know like the truth of everything that happened here. This is fantastic. Um, but tell me in the comments below what you thought of this episode of Heavenly Delusion. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.